whenever you conduct a study, usually there are two variables. You collect data, right? There are two variables. The two variables, namely, we group them as one is it called the independent variable and the other one is a dependent variable. Okay? Now, but not always if you're given the data, not that you will know which is which lah, but when you conduct a study, you should know these two. Like for example, if say you want to collect a group of data about let's say the average heart rate of a male. So you can take like the male subjects based on the age, 13 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old, and so on. Then you measure their heart rate, okay? Or whatever you want to measure, lah, the height or anything. So what you need to understand is that the age of the subject is the independent variable. Why? Because you can control. If you can control the subject, the variable, meaning to say this over here you have less error, or rather you can say no error at all. Okay, so that's the main thing. The dependent variable, however, is the output variable, and then this one will contains a lot of error. Okay, so that's the idea there. The way you carry out your experiment, you have to know these two lah. So let's look at some of these examples here. So for example, an experiment was carried out to examine the amount yield, right, y kg, and an industrial process by changing the surrounding temperature x degrees Celsius. So do you know which is the independent variable and which is the dependent variable? You just quickly write down. Independent variable will be x Celsius, right? Because you can control the temperature, right? The dependent variable, the one that you can't really control, is essentially the y kg, the amount of yield, the industrial process. Okay. Then you have got like the subsequent one, which is the independent. So the independent variable will be what? Independent variable will be surrounding room temperature or the temperature at the thermostat. Thermostat is a remote control lah. You control. Imagine if you have a remote control, you key in aircon remote. You key in 24 degrees Celsius, right? The room surrounding temperature will not be 24 degrees Celsius one. Okay, it will be somewhat around that range, but not really. So, but what you can control is the amount on the remote control. Then after that, the surrounding room temperature will be x degrees Celsius. Okay, that's that. So time spent practicing math test and also the score of the test. Okay, so this is very clear. Of course, we know. Of course, we want to be able to control the outcome of a test, but we can't, right? But what we can do is we can control the time spent. So don't feel personally attacked here. It's just it is. Okay. So then the total score obtained is y lah. The IQ score x of a person and a height y, and also the mathematics score and y. This one will be very sad if we know, like, if our height affect our IQ, it will be very sad, but it's not. So this one is called no observable dependence. Okay, so need more data needed. Okay, so this is the case here. So wrap your head around the idea of independence and independent variable. Okay, so if you look at the question, you must be very clear. So for example, if I give you a data set like that, right, just look at this data set here. You tell me which is the independent variable and which is the dependent variable. The x should be the independent variable, right? You know why? Because it can increase so nicely, ma. You can increase by 5, right? 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So this should be the independent variable. The intuition must come. Then the next one, if you look at this one here, this one is 0.5, 1, 1.5. So this is independent variable. Okay. So the one that contains error will be the y, because your input, you decide what to put in. Okay, so that's the idea there. So that is the idea of dependent independent variable. Then the next part would then be you talk about correlation. So this is a positive correlation. This is a negative correlation. This is what we call curvilinear quadratic. This is called no observable relation. This is like seeing stars in the sky. Okay. So that's the whole idea. So we look at the method of least square.